Good afternoon, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. Well, Trump did his big announcement yesterday and it was quite the letdown, and whoever advised him on this should ask to absolutely be fired. They should not be in Trump's inner circle and have Trump's ear on something like this. We're in the midst of a communist Marxist takeover. Winning our own federal government would incorporations. People are suffering monetarily. People are suffering through the inflation and everything else that's currently going on, the invasion at the southern border. And Trump comes out with this announcement. It's absolutely ridiculous. There was another announcement after this which was way more better. He should lead with that one. Instead of with this, he decided to come out and launch his NFT collectible cards. That's right, like Pokemon cards. I'm sure you could sit there and trade them in and fight him against it. Let's go Brandon cards over here. I don't know. It was just a terrible idea. Maybe he should have went with this a little bit later in the day and it would have been much better than leading with this, and making this your big announcement, hyping up everything and then say, hey, yeah, here's some $100 collectible cards. Here you go. And take them. So you know, we're gonna dive into the story, because the second part of this story, which is being completely overshadowed by the blunder of this one, or maybe it's just a brilliant 8-dimensional chess move that I'm not seeing. Maybe you guys can educate me in the comment section down below, because this seems very counterproductive. And in what you want to rally Americans behind you right now, you have people like Ron DeSantis, who is in Florida, taking on the pharmaceutical companies who push the jab on so many people. And we're seeing Florida take the lead in that is what you're doing. And instead, Trump leads with this trading car thing, where he actually had a great video that he had later that came out that was outlined what it was going to look like day one on his new administration. That's what you lead with now, the stupid trading cards. So let's go and take a look what we have over here on Twitter, because this is what's a buzz and salties. Right? Right here. I saw this and it really just kind of capsulized everything I was thinking about as we were looking at this, and says, fire everyone that told you this was a good idea. This from Disclosure TV. So just in the major announcement, Trump is now selling digital trading cards showing him as a superhero. And this was announced overall. His Truth Social says, major announcement. My official Donald Trump digital trading card collection is here. These limited edition cards feature amazing art of my life and career. Collect all of your favorite Trump digital trading cards, very much like a baseball card, but hopefully much more exciting. Go to collecttrump.com or collecttrumpcards.com and get your cards now. Only $99 each would make a great Christmas gift. Don't wait. Don't. We'll be gone, I believe, very, very quickly. And you know what? Art's cool, dart's cool. But this is not the major announcement you want to make for the people who want to support you, right? For the normies who need to come on board, this isn't going to do it. And coming out with a major announcement and saying this was your major announcement. It's an absolute blunder. He shouldn't lead with this. This is what he should have left with. Let's take a look at this story. Because this is where he could have really made a lot of waves. This is Trump and I'm going to play a little part of it. If I'm not going to play all of it, you guys can check it out in the description. So let's take a listen. Trump says, we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple just like dominoes. One by one, they'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case, because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists and depraved corporate news media had been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to see the press vital information on everything from elections to public health to censorship. Cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business or person to censor, limit, categorize or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis- or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second, I will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal civil regulatory and constitutional offenses. To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters. And we have to do this right now. To the Biden administration, the Biden campaign and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship. Okay folks, that's what you lead with, not to trading cards, you'll leave with the trading cards you leave. Because that's more impactful, it's going to resonate with more people because censorship has touched millions of individuals in this country. And I think that's where you leave with you take the cards and you talk about it later. It's not a major announcements, there's something you post, hey, just by the way, if you want to help support my campaign, check this out, I got these cool trading cards that you can help support my campaign and there's extra offers and etc., which is explained in that video. That's, you'll leave with that, you leave with this. You leave with that? That is what people want. Right? And then some significant news. Courtesy of the left, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the biggest hero, the biggest celebrity of the last maybe 4 years. She was elected 4 years ago, right? Yeah, 4 years are going on the 5th year, the biggest Democrat superstar in line with Greta Thunberg and the rest of these people that are treated like rock stars by the mainstream media. You would think that someone like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has some serious cultural pull, that when she does something people are listening? Well, not exactly. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is what you would call an industry plant. Her image was crafted and created, her identity choreographed, part of some organization to appeal to the next generation of socialist youth voter. There's nothing genuine about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and her level of fame and supposed notoriety is certainly not genuine to the extent that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is now associated with one of the biggest box office failures of the past decade. At least prominent ones. You might not have known this, but Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was part of a climate disaster documentary. You know, the whole doomsday cult religion, that she's part of something along the lines of Y2K, or I don't know, some nonsense like that. But AOC was starting in this movie and it is possibly the biggest box office failure of the past decade. Alright folks. Take a look at this from the Daily Wire. AOC climate documentary redefines box office bomb, averages $81 per theater in dismal opening weekend. Climate change documentary aimed at promoting the Green New Deal initiatives and featuring Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez gave new meaning to the term box office bomb with its dismal opening weekend. Director Rachel Lears is behind the documentary titled To the End, which debuted over the weekend in 120 theaters. The total box office haul for the opening weekend was a less than stellar $9,667. According to Box Office Mojo, less than $10,000 across 120 theaters in an entire weekend. Leaders, his previous offering Netflix is Knocked Down the House, also prominently featured Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and earned high marks from critics. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a critic score of 99% fresh, but viewers on the other hand weren't as kind, giving the film a rating of just 11%. To the End has already garnered a critic score of 83% on the film rating site. But at the time of publication, too few audience members had voted for the viewer score to be posted. And that still remains to be the case. This movie is such an utter flop, such an utter disaster, that there aren't even enough audience scores to include it in the tomato meter. And this goes right back to the point that I'm making. Every time I'm talking about AOC, she's featured on all kinds of magazine covers. She's got millions upon millions of Twitter followers. She's supposedly one of the most popular people on the planet, but she could barely draw people to go watch her movie. Something just isn't right. And it starts to make you wonder how many of her millions of Twitter followers are real human beings as opposed to bots. But on the issue of popularity, it's really not AOC who's unpopular. It's not her as a physical human being. It's her ideas that are so deeply unpopular, and the devastating box office failure of this movie is the perfect metaphor for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's career. If her ideas were truly compelling, if she was really a brilliant mind exposing hard truths and realities about the world, well, then her movie would probably be a success, but it's not. It's a bunch of big government nonsense propaganda, this movie aimed at promoting the Green New Deal. The people know very well that the Green New Deal is very frankly, very bluntly a load of crap. People buy into the AOC public persona, the celebrity, but clearly and literally not into the ideas. The idea that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to solve the world's problems or has something truly groundbreaking and interesting to tell us in our documentary clearly isn't a view that too many people hold. Nobody is interested in this woke, politically motivated garbage, especially not when it comes to entertainment. I mean, at one point these people got to get the memo. How many box office blunders can the left sustain until it's no longer sustainable? Just the other day we were covering Disney's Strange World to lose $100 million in theatrical run. Of course we know streaming services are struggling mightily, and the first thing that they've been cutting is woke programming. And there's even a suggestion that Disney, with their CEO move or their CEO change to Bob Iger, as a move away from woke entertainment. How many box office blunders is it going to take for the cultural left to stop underestimating the intelligence of the American consumer? People don't want politically biased nonsense. They don't want it in their entertainment, and they certainly don't want it in their investigative or educational documentaries. I mean, how much of a narcissist do you have to be to think that it's a good idea to think that people are going to show up in droves to come watch your climate documentary? That's essentially propaganda to promote your Democrat legislative agenda. What an absolute blunder. I mean, the idea that government could solve really any complex societal issue, let alone this supposed incoming Y2K disaster, the idea that we should be taxing ourselves into oblivion to solve problems is absolutely idiotic. The solution to the world's energy crisis isn't slowing down the economy, it's speeding it up. And the best solution that I've come across, and what all the major countries are rushing towards, is innovations and breakthroughs in nuclear energy. And so instantly left-boids will say, why aren't you paying attention to the news? There was just a nuclear energy breakthrough from the National Institute of Nuclear Energy or something like that. It's a federal organization, therefore the government solving the problem. Except no, if you ask me, that's not exactly how that works. First of all, the only reason these organizations exist is because of private funding, and of course, taxpayer dollars. Where do taxpayer dollars come from? A thriving, booming economy, people making money, the economy working, which funds these programs that helps innovate and make our lives better. If we tax ourselves into oblivion and destroy industry and destroy our economy, we're gonna see a significant slowdown in innovation. You know, it's not a coincidence that all the greatest technology is coming from the wealthiest nations. The countries with the biggest economies are the ones who are creating the most and changing the world the most. At AOC and the rest of these lefties, their plan is to destroy the economy and eat crickets and live in tiny little boxes. The perspective is ludicrous. America, the greatest nation on earth that has done the most for humanity, especially in the realm of innovation and technology. And that is not up for debate to model itself after slow, inefficient, ethnocentric European socialist nations. It's ridiculous. And these ideas are actively hurting us and stopping us from solving a lot of the world's complex problems. Leave the complex problems to the complex thinkers, not Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who somehow thinks she's going to be the next David Attenborough producing environmentalist documentaries. How hugely embarrassing. $81 per theater and a little less than $10,000 generated if we take an average ticket price of, let's say, $10 to $15. Less than 1,000 people total across what was it 120 theaters showed up for AOC's opening weekend. The only thing that surprises me is that Netflix didn't pick it up. I guess they really are moving away from woke political entertainment, and it certainly seems as though they dodged a bullet on this one. AOC is a very bright star that is slowly dwindling. Her star power weakening. Her manufactured star power is weakening as people realize how much a fraud and political industry plant she really is. Hopefully you folks enjoyed this chat this morning.